Shalom. I am Rabbi Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. We just observed yesterday Rosh Chodesh Adar, the first day of the Hebrew month of Adar. We are commanded, Mishenichnas Adar Marbin B'Simcha. When the month of Adar comes, we must increase our joy, increase our happiness. It's a very strange commandment. What does that mean? First of all, we don't see a commandment like that with regard to any other holiday, any other Jewish holiday. We're not told when the month that it comes in we should begin our joy. Yes, the holidays are joyous, but here we are almost 2 weeks before Purim, and we're told to increase our joy. What is that about? First of all, what is real joy? You know, we make a mistake in our modern lives. We think that joy is when we accumulate materialistic things, things to, quote, make our life seem easier. But the true joy, as our sages teach us, is Someach bechelko, when you are satisfied with what you have in life. And not only with what you have, bechelko can be translated as you're satisfied with what your neighbor has. If you're happy when your neighbor gets a good car, a new car, instead of being jealous, that is being Someach bechelko. Now, what does this have to do with Purim? First of all, we have to look at the whole basis of what this Purim story is. The Purim story sorry for the delay. I got a message on my computer and I was responding to it about my keyframe. Hopefully you can hear me okay. The Purim story teaches us a very important concept. We know, first of all, that the children of Israel, the Jewish people, are emunim b'nei emunim. We're believers, the son of believers. Emunah, belief in God, that's a foundation of Judaism. But we need more than that. And what Purim teaches us is a concept higher than belief in God. Belief in God is, yes, I believe that there's a God who created the world. I believe that God takes part in what's happening in this world. He doesn't just let things go. His hand, his finger is in everything that happens in this world. But higher than that is a concept called bitachon. Bitachon. B'tach b'Hashem, trust in God, v'aseh tov, and do good. Bitachon is much higher. It's the highest level. It's when you trust that no matter what happens, God is with you and will save you. Now, how is this illustrated by the story of Purim? First of all, what happened in Purim? In Purim, we have the story of how Haman and the king Achashverosh, at the urging of Haman, wanted to destroy the people. And Haman wanted Mordechai to bow down to him. And the Megillah says, Mordechai lo yichrev lo yishtachve. He didn't bow down and he didn't prostrate himself. And in fact, the wording, lo yichrev lo yishtachve, is not only the past, but it's the plural. He won't bow down. He won't prostrate himself. The question is asked, Mordechai, who was the leader of the Jewish community, how could he take an action that put the entire Jewish community in danger? How could he do that? Here's the person who wanted to kill all the Jews, and he's making it easier for him. He's getting him upset because he doesn't bow to him. he didn't do it because he had a question as to whether or not, once this evil decree was signed, that Haman and Ahasuerus, God forbid, will be able to destroy the Jewish people. He knew that with prayer and with bitachon, with trust in God, God would be able to, would save, come to our rescue. And we see that when Mordechai, it wasn't just a question of a feeling that he felt this, but he knew. He knew that no matter the fact that the decree was sealed, that God would come to our rescue, and he understood that any decree could be sweetened and be overcome by bitachon, by faith, trust in God. And also Purim is the holiday of bitachon. And even when Esther came to him and said, she was worried about going into the king to ask for his intervention. She says, what if he doesn't want me in there? He could kill me. And Mordechai wasn't swayed by that. He said, don't worry, our salvation will come from another place. And even though Esther had the Jews fast for 3 days, Mordechai went along with that only to please Esther. He didn't need a fast because he had this shoresh of bitachon, this kernel of trust in God. And we learn this from the first of the, quote, 10 Commandments, Yaseret HaDibrot. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am the Lord your God. Anochi Hashem tells us that God created the world. He's in charge of the world. Elokecha tells a Jew that we have a personal God. God is our God and will not let things that should not happen to us happen to us. And this is the bitachon that we need to understand as a Jew. No matter how dark a situation is, no matter what is happening, we have to understand that God is with us in our time of trouble and will not let us sink and be destroyed. He will always lift us up. That's bitachon. And that's what Mordechai had. Now, there are 2 holidays that the rabbis instituted as the last 2 of the 7 commandments instituted by the rabbis. In addition to the 613 commandments in the Torah, there were 7 mitzvos midrabanan. One is Hanukkah and one is Purim. Both of these are demonstrations of bitachon. On Hanukkah, we had the few Jews, Matisyahu and his sons, and fighting against the overwhelming odds of the Greek Syrian army, and no problem. Their weapon was bitachon. Same with Purim. That is our weapon. That was the weapon that Mordechai understood would overcome the decree, bitachon. And the importance of bitachon is to realize in our life that we must have bitachon. Why did the rabbis institute these 2 holidays as the last holidays? Because they saw with Ruach HaKodesh. They had the foresight to understand, our sages understood, that the Jewish people were going to go into a long and dark exile. And they knew that we would need weapons to overcome this darkness. And the weapons to bring about the light was the weapon of bitachon, the weapon of trust in God. So the true simcha, the true joy, is when we have this trust in God. That is the true joy, because with trust in God, you know that nothing can harm you. True trust in God means that you're not questioning anything. Everything the Torah tells us, everything that happens, Torah tells us, we should understand that God did it and we should be thankful for it. and understand that it's only for our good. I bless everybody to work on this quality of bitachon, of true trust in God, trust that God will be with us and help us no matter what the situation. Let's be happy with our bitachon. Let's be happy as we go into the days leading up to Purim. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a happy and healthy Shabbat.